Now, a key ally of the ANC, and that's Cosatu, within the tripartite alliance umbrella, has added its voice to calls for Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene to vacate office. The Trade Union Federation saying he must pay the price for misleading the nation. We're joined now by Cosatu's first Deputy President, Mike Shingange, who joins us now. Mr. Shingange, thank you very much for your time. You've defended Nhlanhla Nene before, particularly at the time that he was fired by then President Cyril Jacob Zuma. Why the change in attitude now?
No, well, good morning, Colin, to your viewers. No, the issues that you will know that in a few weeks' time, Nhlanhla Nene is supposed to present to the country a medium-term budget policy statement, which is supposed to tell the country how are we going to focus on dealing with the ailing economy as it is. We need a very stable national treasury now, and we do think that these revelations that are coming out, they're not help. In fact, they're going to defocus the country in trying to find solutions for the economy that is going down. So what is a change of mind? Look, we have always said that we needed a new chapter of accountability and transparency post the President Zuma's presidency. Now, anything that seeks to stand in the way of that kind of transparency and accountability, something that Cosatu will not stand for. So indeed, it's our view that he should step aside and so that he allow the country to focus on rebuilding the economy.
But there are other tainted figures within that cabinet who are alleged to have perhaps been also linked to the Guptas, and you know them, they've been mentioned publicly many times. Why this particular minister?
No, not this particular one. We have called for them to go too in the past, but you must remember that it's a few months now that we have had an institution that presents us with a unique possibilities of making sure that everyone else who has got anything, information against anyone, must come before it. This is the Zondo Commission. And Nhlanhla Nene is one of those very few people, or first few people that went to that commission, get grilled, lied about some of the facts, admitted some of the facts, and apologized some of the facts. Our view is that all of those people who have been part of the dodgy dealings must actually appear in that commission, and facts must be raised about them. Our view is that that cabinet must be a cabinet that is constituted by people who are accountable, who are transparent. We need to open that clean chapter now, and we will continue to call all of them. All we are saying is that here we are faced with one minister now, which is Nhlanhla Nene, who has admitted, even admitting to the fact that he didn't tell the truth to the nation. The reasons are still out there to be known, but we think that he must indeed step aside.
Mr. Shingange.
Yes.
You possibly stand a chance of being laughed at by the country. Bathabile Dlamini is still part of this administration. He was found by the Constitutional Court to have misled the highest court in the land.
Yes.
Why haven't you called for Bathabile Dlamini to fall on her sword in as far as the SASSA matter is concerned?
We have. Maybe you will be also laughed at in case you deliberately selectively have amnesia about what Cosatu has been done. We have called for Bathabile to go. We have gone on the street.
When did you do this?
We have gone to the street. Part of our affiliates have always been on the street on the SASSA matter. We have had workers in that sector have gone on strike on several times when Bathabile Dlamini was a Minister of Social Development. There was a 3-month-long strike when Bathabile Dlamini was a minister. We don't appoint ministers. We can only make a call. Even in here, we're not going to make anything more than just making a call to the president to make sure that he allows Nhlanhla Nene to step aside. So it's not correct that we didn't call for Bathabile Dlamini, we didn't call for Nomvula Mkoyana, we didn't call for Mandla Zikagab. It's not correct. If you were to go to your records, you will see that workers lost money because they went on strike and got a no work, no pay in demand of these political elements.
But you're speaking about a new chapter of accountability, of ethical leadership. Those people are still there. Why aren't you putting pressure on President Ramaphosa to act, and to act now?
Like I'm saying, we do not appoint ministers. When those ministers currently were appointed by the president, we have already made that point. We have already made that point. There comes a point where you must respect what is called a prerogative, but it doesn't stop us that from time to time, when new revelations comes, we must add our voice. We're adding our voice now because here is the person who is in charge of our money. Here is the person who is supposed to tell the country how we turn the economy around. Here is the person who admits to have had meetings that does not disclose what are the issues that were discussed there. And we're making that point now, and we're saying to the president, it is the time that you must indeed walk the talk of making sure that your government is a government that is characterized by clean and accountability.
What do you say to arguments that say Nhlanhla Nene, yes, he lied about his meetings with the Guptas, but in as far as corruption is concerned, there's no conclusive evidence there. Therefore, why is he getting shafted when others who possibly have done worse than him still remain in this country?
In fact, we agree that there are many that have done worse things, and some of them have to be dragged kicking and screaming into the Zondo Commission. Some of them are resisting. If there is one thing that you must give to Nhlanhla Nene, is that yes, he might have lied here and there, but he went to that commission on himself. He went out in public, apologized, he admitted. So it's not about the evidence or the evidence of the corruption that has taken place. The fact that for such a long time, when some people in this country went out and said, we have been approached by this family. We have been asked to do something that we felt it's unethical, it's incorrect in terms of governance in this country. He was quiet. It's only now that it's coming out. So we don't need more evidence, because what else has he lied about that we don't know? But be that as it may, what are we going to say? What are South Africans are going to say once he presents his medium-term budget policy statement? What is it that he's going to say about building confidence on the economy in order for it to rise in this country? So it's something that we can't stand for. But we agree that maybe more still need to be uncovered. Those who are entrusted with the responsibility to uncover must do so. For us, we can't have a person at the helm of our money being Nhlanhla Nene at the moment.
As an alliance partner of the ANC, I know that you sit on what is called the deployment committee inside the ANC that decides who gets to go to what position in government. Has the president taken you into his confidence about releasing Nhlanhla Nene or possibly accepting the alleged resignation letter that may be sitting in front of him?
No, not yet. All we are saying is that there are reports that Nhlanhla Nene himself might have made that call, whether that is true or not. But we are saying if it is true, we think the president, he must accept it. He has not yet called us, as you correctly said now, perhaps they were away somewhere as a national office bearers of the ANC. He has not taken us to confidence about that.
But isn't that an issue? Previously, isn't that an issue? Because previously you've made noise about not being consulted when key decisions are made. This is one hell of a decision that the president has got to make. Surely the alliance partner of the ANC must be consulted before any major step is taken.
We're confident that when that matter must be taken, we will be considered, will be consulted. That part has since improved about the consultation. We're not making this call because we are crying about not being consulted or we want to be consulted now. We know that even when the president will want to make that decision, surely as Cosatu and the other alliance partners will be consulted. All we are making is that we are part of South Africans who are enraged by the
Are you sworn to secrecy? Are you sworn to secrecy about this? Has a decision already been taken on the future of Nhlanhla Nene?
We don't know. The president will make that decision. All we are saying is that we will be taken into confidence when that decision is taken. All we are saying is that Nhlanhla Nene didn't have to ask the president if he must resign or not. If he feels that he had done something wrong and he must do the honorable thing, he shouldn't even put the pressure on the president to resign. That's in case the reports that he has made that call to the president is true. But we are saying if he did make that call to the president shouldn't hesitate. He must indeed release him so that we allow the country to move forward.
Importantly, as Cosatu, you've always been vocal, in particular about National Treasury and the decisions that they take. And you've come out in a very rare moment in the recent past about actual individuals who get appointed to that position of finance minister. Who, in your view, as a key ally of the ANC, would you want as a replacement for Nhlanhla Nene, if Nhlanhla Nene indeed does fall on his sword?
We believe that South Africans is full with people who are very capable, who can run this.
But general South Africans, you're not telling me anything. I want you to tell me within the ANC and sitting on the deployment committee, who is the likely candidate that will replace Nhlanhla Nene?
We will not want to speculate by now or detect to even the deployment committee itself or the ANC in particular, or more importantly, specifically the president. You will know that the appointment of the cabinet is a prerogative of the president.
Yeah, but these things get discussed in the deployment committee.
When there's a pool of names that must be discussed, that will come to the deployment committee, to which Cosatu will see.
So what are those names that have been discussed?
No. I'm saying when there are those pools, we will be there and we will discuss them. For now, we don't have any name in mind. All we are saying, the name we have that mustn't be a Minister of Treasury is Nhlanhla Nene. That's all we have. We don't have a name about who must replace. We will interrogate those names as and when they come. We are correct that we're always very critical of the Treasury as an institution, not so much as an individual at an individual level. The way it is structured, its mandate, the way it performs, it's a cause for concern. But as far as the ministries are concerned, we will want to respect the process that has always been a practice in the ANC and in government, that the president has a prerogative. Because even if we get consulted and we make our view, it is still the president who must make that call, whether he agrees or not. So we can't stand here and start speculating on the name. What if the president doesn't agree? What if the deployment committee doesn't agree? What are we going to say? So we want to make our point and our views as and when we are consulted, and then leave it to the president to take that decision.
Let me ask you this then. Are we likely to see a cabinet reshuffle, whether, a mini cabinet reshuffle, if you like? Because, and I ask this simply because Edna Molewa, the Environmental Affairs Minister, who's now late, has left a vacant position there. And then you have the issues around the Finance Minister. Are you aware of a possible cabinet reshuffle?
Look, ideally, it wouldn't be very smart of any government or any president to want to change a cabinet just a few months before the election. It doesn't make sense. First, those people who come in will do nothing in a few months that is left. So it's just be an academic exercise. However, there are instances where it's a forced situation. It's if you have played football, you know what is a forced replacement of a player. If you have a situation of unfortunate, like the Minister of Environmental Affairs was passed on, surely that position must be replaced. And in this case, it's a forced substitution. Nhlanhla Nene has to go, but we will not want to advocate or even think that the president will want to go on a wholesale cabinet reshuffle for what? For what? He has kept those people for such a long time. He must as well allow them to finish their term and then go and win election and come back and make sure that they put a very credible men and women that are going to run this country.
Well, he said, just as a final question to you, he has said when he was appointing this cabinet that it's a transitional cabinet.
Exactly.
When the cabinet that he wants does eventually get appointed, would Barbara Creecy make the cut for Finance Minister?
We don't know.
Her name seems to be on everybody's lips at the moment.
We don't know. All we know is that Barbara Creecy serves a position for now. She's working very hard wherever she is, and we think that she has a mandate to fulfill where she is. So we will not want to speculate on this.
Would you be comfortable with Zweli Mkhize occupying that position of Finance Minister?
No, you're not going to get that, Tori. I told you that we don't have names as yet now. We only have to have names when we are consulted, and we're going to make our point there.
All right. Well, you can't say I haven't tried. Thank you very much.
Tried very hard. Sure.
Mike Shingange, thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
He is Cosatu's first deputy president, of course, fresh from being elected at Gallagher Estate. You'll know Cosatu held an elective conference recently. All right.